Let's dive into the nitty-gritty.
The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, such a long name, was released on March 12th, 2022 at South by Southwest, but then got its wide release on April 22nd, 2022. This is the only release in 2022 so far for Nick Cage, which is really slowing down. So he must really actually be out of debt at this point. He was at like 6 or 7 every year there for a long time. But yeah, only one. And it's at the time of recording now, we record our episodes way in advance. So we're recording in June. So it's already halfway through the year, and we only have one Nick Cage movie, which I think there's more coming, but I don't know.
I think we had to abandon.
Yeah, we had to abandon Butcher's Crossing because we thought we were going to be able to do it this year, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. There's The Old Way, I think, might be coming out, but I haven't really heard any updates on that project. But
yeah,
this may end up being the only movie that Nick Cage releases in 2022, which would be crazy.
Yeah. Actually, no, not you saying. I think I heard recently that The Old Way was in post-production.
So maybe in the fall or something.
It might hit fall. And if it gets some buzz, they might do the Oscar stuff since he's got some weight behind him right now.
Yeah, and Renfield, I don't know the status of that project. I've only seen that one production picture.
Yeah, I know they're finished doing principal photography, I believe, so that you're probably not looking until next year. Yeah. I don't see that coming out this year.
I'm assuming there's going to be a lot of effects. I don't know.
Yeah,
I have no idea what that project really is. I'm hoping that it's black and white based on the
based on the
production photos.
Yeah,
but we'll see.
You think they'll give it the dog treatment?
Just make one full section of the movie in black and white, the rest in color.
Yeah.
Budget was $30 million, which is definitely the highest Nick Cage budget in a long time. $30 million, and I have to wonder how much of that was Nick Cage's salary.
Yeah.
Had to have been a ton, because he had him bent over the rails on this one. Like, who are you going to make this with if not Nick Cage?
Christopher Walken.
Yeah. I'd love to see Christopher Walken kiss young Christopher Walken in this scene.
You're
Christopher fucking Walken. Box office as of now, so it is still playing in theaters, even though it's been released on home video, if you can see. It is still in theaters, just a small amount of theaters, but it is still playing. So I'll probably have to adjust this, but as of right now, it's made 28.6, so it didn't quite make back its budget and definitely lost money. Sadly, I don't think we're going to see our fabled sequel to this movie that we were talking about, of maybe the Superman comic being stolen. That hinted about script that was supposed to have been made years and years ago.
I don't know. I feel like maybe this will become a cult classic that they end up then.
I do too, but I don't think that they'll make another theatrical. And if they do, it would be way lower on the budget, and Nick Cage would have to really want to do it, and I don't think Nick Cage would want to do it.
I don't know. Yeah, it's weird. Because I went and saw it in theater, and the theater was pretty packed. Honestly, other than a Marvel, let's see, I've seen 2 movies other than a Marvel movie, and this was one of them. And this was the most packed outside of a Marvel film since COVID, and everybody was there to see. I think Batman was still showing, so there were a bunch of people seeing Batman, and then Doctor Strange was kind of kicking butt a little bit at the time.
When I saw it, there were 5 people in the theater, and 3 of those people were in my group. So,
well, I went by myself because I'm a loser.
No shame in that. Directed by Tom Gormican. I think that's how you say his name, Tom Gormican, who is mostly known for writing and directing The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. But he also wrote and directed That Awkward Moment, which I haven't seen, but it looks kind of funny. It's Zac Efron, Miles Teller, and Michael B. Jordan, kind of an all-star cast. And then he also wrote Ghosted with Adam Scott and Craig Robinson, the TV show.
That's funny.
that I also didn't see. It looked like it only got like a season or two, something like that. But hopefully this is the beginning of bigger and better things, because I think he'll get some heat from this movie and get some interesting stuff. He seems to prefer writing and directing his projects, so we'll see. But going from that awkward moment and Ghosted to a $30 million budget already speaks to what studios thought of him.
Yeah, I have a feeling he'll probably become the next buddy comedy writer-director.
Yeah, maybe. This was written by Tom Gormican and Kevin Etten, who was the editor of the Harvard Lampoon back in the day. Harvard Lampoon is famous for Conan O'Brien wrote on it, B.J. Novak, William Randolph Hearst, which is, William Randolph Hearst.
Yeah. Those are some losers on that list, dude. I've never even heard of those guys.
Among others, there are a lot of famous people who came out of the Harvard Lampoon, but it's kind of a famous starting place for big name comedians and writers. He also wrote on Reaper, Desperate Housewives, where he won 2 Golden Globes. So,
wow, dang.
In the behind the scenes, Tom Gormican was the one who came up with this idea and like really took a leap of faith. We'll get into it in the quick facts, but it was like, wow, he took a huge risk even starting this script like as a planned project. Mm-hmm. And I guess Nick Cage knew about it pretty early on and was like, fuck that, I'm not doing that movie.
Yeah.
So, man, the balls it takes to put your whole career on hold to do a movie that's a love letter to Nick Cage that Nick Cage himself doesn't want to star in. It's pretty crazy. Shot by Nigel Bluck, who did a lot of the episodes of True Detective, but not the good one, not the good season. Worked exclusively on season 2 and 3, it seems like.
Oh, man.
3 was a hell of a lot better than 2. But it is not, neither one of them even holds a candle to 1. And the second season is borderline unwatchable. It is just horrendous. Horrendous, dude. How do you miss the dunk so bad on that second season? It was just terrible. When I saw the cast, I was like, this is going to be awesome. Yeah. I mean, put in the hands of the people who made that first season, and then it turned into what it turned into. And it was like, oh my God, what did you do? And then he also shot the Peanut Butter Falcon, which is that Shia LaBeouf movie with the kid who has Down syndrome, which got a lot of heat, Oscar buzz and stuff. It's kind of Shia LaBeouf's return to prominence a little bit.
Mm-hmm. That was a good film. It was really good. I wasn't expecting it to be as good as it was.
I didn't actually see it.
I haven't even heard of it.
Yeah, it's really good. I recommend it. He's really good in that movie. Same with the kid with Down syndrome. And it was, shot-wise, like, done beautifully. It was a really well put together movie.
I will say that those 2 seasons of True Detective that weren't as good as the first season were gorgeous. So
this guy knows how to shoot a film real well.
Onus doesn't fall on Nigel Bluck.
No.
Plus he has a cool name. Yeah. Nigel.
I've running theory. Like, every time I'm looking at credits for movies, I look for Nigels. You can always find one.
There's usually always one.
There's always a Nigel somewhere in there. And this was like right at the beginning of the credits. It was like cinematography by Nigel Bluck.
We should put it in the trackers. Every movie that has a Nigel working on it. How many Nigels did we have working on this one?
Oh, God.
13 Nigels.
13 Nigels.
Edited by Melissa Bretherton, who edited the new Ghostbusters movies, not the Jason Reitman one, but the Melissa McCarthy
2016 one,
the one that nobody seemed to like. But I mean, I haven't actually watched that film, but from what I saw, it looked like it was edited pretty well.
I think that movie gets a bad rap. I haven't seen it either. I've seen clips of it, but I think people just shit on it.
I think a lot of people shit on it just because it was, the idea of having this all girl cast. But from what I've heard, the place where it fails is not in that. It's just that all the characters are pretty bland and boring, and nobody really brings anything interesting to the table, from what I've heard.
Yeah.
Again, I haven't watched it. I do want to give it a shot at some point.
Yeah,
like put these four powerhouses of
I know, dude,
female
like
comedians
at the height of their fame, and like you just missed the mark.
Yeah,
that's sad. That's frustrating.
Also, really hate the idea that
don't say it.
They took 3 white women who were scientists and renowned, prestigious people, and then they made the one black character a janitor or whatever.
Yeah,
was it that Tiffany Haddish?
But was she sassy? No, that's
no.
Or was it? No, it's Leslie. No, not Leslie.
Leslie Jones, right?
Jones. Yeah. Leslie Jones. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy, man. Like all 4 of those women are fucking hilarious.
Yeah,
it's just the miss the mark is frustrating.
I just feel like that's where it falls down on itself, and I think the critical mass of people shitting on it also hurt it. I think even just from the onset when they started talking about it, a lot of people were like shitting on it, and I don't think that's fair. You should have given it a shot. But
Ghostbusters feels like one of those properties people were just offended at the fact that they were trying to remake.
Yeah, in general,
so just right from the get-go.
Yeah,
I feel the same way. But to be fair, this was Bill Murray's idea. Bill Murray was the one who suggested making it all women cast. So if you're going to shit on anybody, she also edited Anchorman 2, and then was an assistant editor on a lot of stuff, going back like way into the 80s. Assistant editor on a lot of the Apatow movies, which we've seen that as kind of a running theme here. Is a lot of people from the Apatow camp have kind of gone out and done bigger and better things. But she also edited the original Judge Dredd, and one of my favorite movies, kind of a forgotten movie a little bit, Falling Down with Michael Douglas. Oh, such a good movie. Basically, just a guy having a really bad day throughout the whole movie. Someone who's just kind of hit the end of their patience. But it's so cathartic to watch.
I'm gonna have to watch that movie.
It's amazing. It's Michael Douglas is just in traffic in LA, and that's where it all starts, and everything just goes off the rails after that.
Oh boy.
And then music by our guy we talked about a bunch on Bad Lieutenant, Protocol New Orleans, Mark Isham, who I'll just point out some other movies that I didn't mention during our Bad Lieutenant episode of he did 42, that Chadwick Boseman, Jackie Robinson story, The Mist, that Darabont movie with from the Stephen King story that had the most effed up ending that wasn't in the book, by the way.
Yeah.
And I won't spoil The Mist. And also Waterworld, which I found out when I fell down a rabbit hole on Wikipedia that his score was rejected for Waterworld because Kevin Costner thought it was too ethnic and bleak. Like, okay.
I guess I haven't heard it, but what a weird critique of something.
Yeah, like, I mean, I can see the bleak.
Too ethnic. Sure. I was like wondering what a too ethnic sounds like. That's.
I wonder if he wishes he could take that back.
Isham
it was a different
Kevin
time.
Costner.
Kevin Costner.
Yeah.
Costner.
I mean, that was one of the things that probably pushed the budget so high on that movie. Just one of the most expensive movies ever made at that time, and a huge failure. And you're paying Mark Isham, who even then was very famous and probably cost a fair amount to hire, and then you're like, no, too ethnic, too bleak. Don't like it.
Yeah.
And Isham himself was like, I wanted a chance to go back in and change it, but they wouldn't let me. They just fired me. So,
ooh, ouch! So they actually fired.
We need his original soundtrack.
Yeah,
leaked to Library of Congress.
Give us
or
the
whatever.
Waterworld Mark Isham cut.
Isham cut.
It's all just like tribal drums and shit, chanting.
This
It
is
would be
too
funny if
ethnic.
it's just it's a whole bunch of like music that doesn't match. It's like Native American music and
It's
like
all
Aboriginal
marimbas and-
yeah, it's like Mariachi band thrown in there.
It's like, well, out of context,
Yeah, Costner was
looks
right.
like an asshole, but he's actually right.
Oh my God! Somehow they made the xylophone sound really bleak. I don't know how they did that, but
I mean, there's ethnic and then there's too ethnic, where it's just every ethnicity imaginable thrown into a musical score.
It's
crazy.
offensive at this point.
it's like in the Dewey Cox story when he's writing the song and it has like 1,000 musicians all working on it. Needs more chanting. Rotten Tomatoes gave this an 86%, 7.2 out of 10 on 285 reviews. Pretty high up there. I haven't really tracked the 80s, but in the 90s, there's only like 5 movies that Nick Cage has been in that have gotten a 90 or above. And then this one's pretty close. I think it was in the 90s when it premiered and then slowly went down over the course of its theatrical run.
Yeah.
Audience is right there at 87%. Metacritic is 67%, which again, I know that they have some sort of weighted score, but maybe I should look into it more, like what exactly the criteria is for Metacritic. I'm not entirely sure. IMDb 7.1, so everybody's right about the same spot. But this one was surprising. It got a cinema score of a B+.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
I can see
that's
that
not
though,
great.
just because this really is like, you gotta love Nick to really love this movie. Otherwise, it's an entertaining movie, but if you really don't love him, a lot of the nuance and a lot of the references are gonna be lost on you.
Yeah, I could see that.
So I can see some people walking in.
I think it's
Nick Cage
mostly
movie.
It's just like the structure too, like
Yeah.
and they poke fun of that in the movie.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
they
make fun of
It's
themselves,
a bait
yeah.
and switch, like to get people to think what they're watching something,
Yeah.
but they're actually watching something else. And I can see that not jiving well. As
It's
so
like
could
Pig.
they in the movie. They talk about how it's not a smart thing to do for a blockbuster, but
Yeah, starting out as kind of a character piece and then a paranoid thriller and then a blockbuster is exactly what they mention in the movie.
Yeah, but that's what makes that's what I appreciated most about it. Is like they're making fun of themselves. They're making fun of Hollywood and all these films. And
It's a very,
Very
very self-referential
Yes.
movie. Very meta, yeah.
very meta. I loved it. It's amazing.
which I can see critics enjoying more than the general
Yeah.
audience. Probably.
Yeah. And I definitely think it helps to know a lot, like probably too much about Nicolas Cage, like we do.
Dude, imagine being like just a fringe fan in that scene where they go into his Nick Cage room and you're looking at shit and like, what the fuck is Mandy? Why is there a chainsaw here? What is that axe looking thing? Like there's so much stuff in there that like if you really haven't been following his career, you'd be like, what the fuck?
I don't actually feel like you need to know anything about Nick Cage. I think when he walks into that room, you just be like, wow, what an obsessed freak.
Yeah.
This guy's way too into Nick Cage.
It kind of reminds me of a guy I know. He's got a little collection going.
Yeah, pretty soon it's going to be a whole room.
I can't wait for the wax dummy of him.
Yeah.
I still wonder, like, how many times do you think Javi has had sex with that wax dummy?
No less than 100.
Yeah. This is not for sale.
Why is there a hole in the butt?
Why is it so bent out of shape?
Yeah, the face used to look more natural, but got deformed over time with use.